Hello everyone. In this video we will understand why game theory is so important and some of the basics related to it. We all make decisions in our everyday lives. While there are some decisions which depend entirely on us, for example, the food I would like to eat today or the dress that I would wear depend entirely on me. But there are also some situations which depend on what the other person will do. That is, my decision will depend on what you will do, and your decision will depend on what I will do. For example, in a game of chess, both the players' moves depend on each other's playing strategies. Let's take another example to understand this. The driver's decision to overspeed their car will depend on the number of speed traps put by the police. If they notice that there are many speed traps put by the police, drivers may decide not to overspeed their car. But if there are very few speed traps, then the drivers may overspeed. On the other hand, the police decision to put the speed traps depends on the drivers. That is, if the police notice that many drivers overspeed, then they may put more speed traps. But if they notice that there are very few drivers who overspeed, they may not put the speed traps. Hence, both the drivers and the police decision depend on what the other person will do. And when this kind of circularity is there in a situation, it is known as strategic interaction. That is, both depend on what each other person will do. That is, in a strategic interaction, a person no longer has an obvious choice that what is best for him or her. What is best for me depends on what the other decision maker is doing, and the other decision maker's best is decided by what I am doing. It is here where the game theory comes into a very handy tool to understand this kind of strategic interaction. There are two major tasks involved in a game theory. Firstly, is to convert any given situation into a simple game. Next is to solve the game, that is, to predict what the results of the given situation or the game will be. We will understand both these tasks in the coming videos. But before that, we need to understand three essential elements of a game, that are players, strategy, and payoffs. Players are the decision makers of the game. They are the ones who choose from a set of possible actions given to them. For instance, in the example discussed above of drivers and police, the drivers and the police were the players of the situation. The drivers had to decide whether they should overspeed or not, and similarly, the police had to decide whether to put the speed traps or not. Hence, the drivers and the police are the players of the game. Players may be individuals, for example, in a game of poker or in a game of chess. They may be firms, for instance, in oligopoly markets, where the firms are interdependent on each other for their price and output, or they could be nations like US, China involved in a trade war. Next essential element is strategies. These are the different actions that a player can take. The example discussed above, the driver's strategies or the actions available to the driver were whether to overspeed or not to overspeed, that is normal speed. Similarly, the police strategies were whether to put speed traps or whether to not to put any speed traps. We can represent these strategies by the sets. For example, the driver strategies can be represented by set given the name S1 or the SD, and the police strategies can be given the name of S2. Let's suppose that the driver decides to overspeed. He chooses to overspeed. That is, a particular strategy chosen by the driver is to overspeed. And the police decides to put speed traps. Now, these are the two strategies, particular strategies chosen by the driver and the police. So, hence, we can write this strategy of the driver by small s1, and the police strategy that is chosen, we can write it as s2. And hence, we can write that s2 that is overspeed, belongs to the set S1. The driver strategy belongs to set S1. That is, the particular strategy chosen by the driver is from the set of strategies available to him, that is S1. Similarly, the police strategy chosen is S2, that is to put speed traps, belongs to the set of strategies available to him, that was S2. The last essential element of a game is payoffs. It is the final return to each player at the conclusion of the game. For instance, in the example above, drivers chose to overspeed. Hence, the payoff from overspeeding to the drivers is equal to, let's say, 5. Now, this could be in the form of happiness by overspeeding or reaching in time or monetary benefits or anything. Similarly, the payoff to police when they put the speed traps shown by U2 is equal to 20. This also could be in any form due to reduced accidents, that happiness, or they could be monetary or non monetary, it could be anything. So we see that the payoff of the drivers was 5 and the payoff to police was 20. Hence, the payoffs can be measured in the levels of utility obtained by the players, and this utility can be in the form of monetary payoff, that is profits, or it could be in the form of non monetary payoff, that is, it could be happiness, sadness, anger, or anything. Now, let's say that the strategies chosen was overspeed by drivers and putting speed traps by police. Now the utility, that is the 5 that we saw above, obtained by the driver is equal to the strategy chosen by the driver, that is overspeed, let it be S1, small s1, and the strategy chosen by police to be S2. Now we see that the driver's payoff depends upon his chosen strategy and also on the strategy chosen by the police. And similarly, the police payoff U2 depends on the strategy chosen by the police, that is put speed traps S2, and also the strategy chosen by the driver. And this observation is very important in context of game theory. It is here the essence of game theory lies, that is, my payoff depends not only on my strategy but also on the strategy chosen by the other player. And this is what is known as strategic interdependence. Hence, we can conclude that model of a situation that is strategic, that is a situation where this interdependence is called a game. Thank you everyone. I hope you got understanding of the basic elements of a game. In the next videos, we will see firstly how to form a game and then next how to solve the game. Thank you everyone.